Hey everyone, and welcome to Monday. It's time for our good friend Chris King and me to get together here for Just Parlays. Happy Monday, Chris.
Happy Monday, Jim.
Did you have a good weekend?
No, I watched a lot of teams that should have won lose in conference tournament play. It was bad enough seeing Auburn lose, then Arkansas lost, then Princeton lost to Yale and ended up missing out on going to the tournament. Then we saw Davidson lose because they gave up a bunch of layups against Richmond.
Yeah,
a lot of disappointing performances from a perspective of how we expected the games to go, but I guess those things balance out as time goes by.
Yeah, kind of. It was Yale prevailed. I think that that was going to be a good matchup. Yale might be a decent little team there in the tournament. You never know. They're an interesting team. There's a lot of interesting teams in. We talked a little bit about who got in. Happy to see San Francisco get in the tournament. We were wondering if they were going to make it or not. And they did. St. Mary's made it, and Gonzaga. So we got some of the teams that we've been on all season long were able to get in there. Colorado State got in. There were a number of teams that we had from the mid majors we've been showcasing all season. Showed up in a tournament.
Yeah, and then Wyoming gets stuck playing in a first four game, which they don't deserve to be. And you probably would have been better off if you're going to put a team like Michigan in the tournament. That's where they belong, as opposed to Wyoming. I'm tired of hearing the rationale that, well, if they didn't go to play UNC in Arizona on a neutral floor in Chapel Hill and put two cupcakes in there, they would have been 19-12. Well, as the saying goes, if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle. It doesn't matter. You have to beat the teams that are on your schedule. And as it was, they got trounced by North Carolina, and you couldn't reschedule that game anyway because it was part of the Big Ten ACC challenge that they have every year. I'm sure they could have said, well, we could have got Pittsburgh or somebody like that, but so what? The bottom line is I don't think Michigan belongs in this tournament by any stretch of the imagination. They're a 17-14 team. I don't want to hear the rationale about how they've had a strong strength of schedule and they played a bunch of teams that made the tournament field. More than half the Big Ten made the field, let's be honest. So you could throw a dart at the wall and find a Big Ten team that made the tournament. It doesn't mean that they were any good. You look at Michigan's resume down the stretch. They beat Northwestern by 2. Northwestern's not in the tournament. They had to rally in the second half to beat Nebraska by 6 at the Chrysler Center. We know how bad Nebraska was. They beat Penn State by 1. Juwan Howard got suspended for punching for getting in a slap fight after the Wisconsin game. This is not a good basketball team. They shouldn't be in the tournament. They shouldn't be an 11th seed. They shouldn't be favored over Colorado State in the first round. And I hope they lose Thursday or Friday, whichever day they play, because I don't remember. But either way, I don't believe the Wolverines should be here. I think they're a clown show. And
it won't take long to find out how this all plays out. But you know what, Chris? We got a promotion, and let's go to it. I'm going to go to the screen. Here we go, folks. And
there's the screen.
There it is. Do you see it? There he is. It's 2000 and it's the 2022 Hoops Madness Special. Now you get a betting guide, which is being produced by Whiners and Whiners, and it really gives you a comprehensive look at what is going on in the tournament. And basically, it really guides you as you fill out your brackets. Now, we have a bracket contest, all right? And it's a $2,000 bracket contest. Now, you're already going to put together your brackets for your office pool, but, I bet it's not paying anything close to $2,000. Now, the top 5 scoring entries in our bracket challenge pays cash, with the first place getting a cool $1,000. And it's free. It's presented to you by Max Wagers, Picks and Parlays, and, of course, those of us here in Whiners and Whiners. Okay, so again, it's free. What you're going to want to do is you want to go to the show box below and fill out your bracket. Just click on the thing, get a free bracket guide, which we just showed you. Then, once you do that, then you click the next box and you fill out the brackets. Now, the top 5 scoring entries in our bracket challenge pays cash, with first place getting a cool $1,000. Check the show box below. Free entry. Okay, so there you go. Simple as that. All right. Can't be much more easy, and it's going to be fun. If you're going to do it, take a chance. All right. You guys are here. You know the drill, right? It's a fun opportunity. And we at Winners and Whiners, the Max, Wager Network, and our buddies at Picks and Parlays, all having some fun with you here. Also, this week we're going to have all of our shows are going to be focusing on the tournament. Allie and her show, which comes on at 1 o'clock, is going to take the East. Chris has got the West. We got Scott and Scott have the Midwest, and then Lenny and the gang have the South. So those are your brackets. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the tournament in general, but we're going to break down those brackets for you. So if you want to find out what's going on in the West, here is where you go. Okay. And speaking of which, Chris, you've been doing some serious research on the West. Some opening thoughts on what you've seen so far in that region.
It's a rough bracket. I mean, if you look at it, the top 4 seeds are all very good teams. Gonzaga, of course, the top overall seed in the bracket. Mm-hmm. Then you've got the Mike Krzyzewski retirement tour coming into town as the 2, and then you've got Texas Tech as the 3 seed, and then Arkansas, which kind of disappointed down the stretch, is a 4. Arkansas's got to watch out for that first round matchup because they drew another one of our favorite teams that we like to talk about a lot in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be an interesting one. And then, there's some other teams that, we know aren't going to go very far. Montana State is here. Cal State Fullerton got in after winning the Big West over Long Beach State. I feel bad for Rob Lanier and Georgia State. They get in the tournament after winning the Sun Belt, and congratulations, here's your gift. You get to play Gonzaga in round 1. Not going to be a fun night for the Panthers there. And the big matchup is the 8-9 matchup, of course. Everybody wondering who's going to come out with Boise State and Memphis. Penny Hardaway getting the Tigers back in the tournament for the first time in a while. They won the NIT last year. Boise State won the Mountain West in the regular season, won the Mountain West title in the tournament, and they get an 8 seed. So,
well, I got to say we've been riding Boise State all season long. I kind of like them against Memphis.
See, I kind of like Memphis just because it's something we talked about before. Memphis will run, BYU won't, or not BYU, Boise State won't, and Boise State, it's something that we talked about multiple times when we talked about in this season. They don't hit free throws.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And if you don't hit free throws in the tournament, and I mean, we saw them nearly lose games during the regular season when they weren't knocking them down. They barely got by San Diego State a couple times.
Here's our buddy Allie showing up. See what she wants us to talk about.
She probably wants to talk about how she doesn't have Duke.
Yeah, that's not my fault. Anyway, here we go. Allie.
You don't have Duke.
I do.
I know that. It's all good. I've actually got my guys out. I was just telling the Morning Woodies that the Morning Wood crew, we've got the East. We're going to take it down. These are our options. We're ready to rock. So how's it going, guys?
It's going well. As a matter of fact, Allie, I watched I took your class this morning.
Did you? My class on hedging?
I did. Yes, I did. It was one of the best classes I've taken. It's probably one of the first classes I might actually have passed.
He took it pass fail.
Yeah.
So, is there anything maybe you could add? Either of you could add to that class? Did I miss anything that I could touch on tomorrow? This is kind of the new vision of the Morning Wood show. I just wanted to stop in real quick and say hi to everyone because it's Monday. But it's my vision, my new vision. The Morning Wood show originally started with me teaching them a lot of stuff. And I kind of got so caught up in the writing everyone's name down for the contest that it pulled away from that. So now I have Lenny. So every day we're going to be doing classes. There's so many new novice bettors out there, and even some experienced bettors that don't know some different kinds of strategies that you can use. So I'm going to take the time on the Morning Wood Show to teach people. And if you guys have any ideas on what you'd like to learn, you can let me know. But anything I could add to my hedging class?
No, I think it was very interesting. I think that the fun part was that, your concept of the key of not losing money. All right. And even though you make 30 cents, I think was one of the things that you had an example on.
Right.
30 cents is better than nothing. And as you add up and go through it, that's, what you're going. I will tell you, to your point, okay, I have a friend who was a professional poker player, okay, online poker player. And he told me once, I said, what do you consider, what do you consider a good day? And he said, if I can win 50 to 75 cents a hand, that's a good day. And
one big bet per hour.
What? Well, per hand, per hand is maybe an hour, maybe, whatever. But the point being that you don't have to win $5, $6, $7, $10, $25 to be successful. You just have to be plugging along and be willing to do that. And that requires patience, number one, and it requires discipline, number two. And you taught that in your class today.
Well, thank you. Yeah, for me, there's so much time invested in this kind of stuff, and just anytime I can take money, I want to take the money. In poker, for me, it was like what got me into this idea of my arbitrage hedging, same sides both game plus money thing, is that in poker, if you walk away from the table and you played for 3 or 4 hours and now you walk away 5 or 6 hours. Who plays poker for 2 or 3 hours? 5 or 6 hours. So you walk away and you're even, you're actually up because you beat the rate. You might not be up in your pocket, but you have profited throughout the course of this poker game because you didn't pay the house any money. So you got out for free. And it's that kind of mentality that kind of got me into what I'm doing here. How can I steal money from the book? How can I steal it from them? Because they're stealing 10 cents from me every single time I make a straight bet at a -110,
Right. Well, and then
wait a second. That's not me. That's 2 and 3 on the total chaos board, is it? Because I was 4 and 1 and 5 and 0.
I haven't updated your things yet. No, I must have switched you with somebody else.
That's Steen's
record. I haven't updated things yet. I just moved everyone over. I have a photograph of what it was before, so don't worry.
That's all right. I thought you were off Mondays. Did Lenny actually get a day off?
No, I'm starting to take Sundays off, and then I can do Monday through Friday. Total chaoses and morning woods. So that's how I'm doing it.
Well, there you go.
No, Monday, and Lenny never gets Mondays off. Never.
Allie, why don't you talk a little bit, and Chris, you could chime in on the importance. You just said in your class today, I took notes, that the key was beating the book. All right. And how to beat the book. So talk a little bit about that, and then Chris, chime in.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had those bets. There's some days you make the right bet and it was the wrong day for that team. You feel like I would make that bet 10 times over. Even knowing it came out losing, I would still make that bet because I felt like my cap was on. But you're just wrong. You're just flat out wrong. There's times where you're just wrong. Like all your numbers are wrong. You never had a shot. You get blown out or something, so there's all these situations where no matter how hard you work, you still don't make the money. So I just try to put myself in situations where I feel like it will flip itself over. It will go one way or the other. And I use the example of hedging a parlay. You guys know I don't really parlay, but I think that's the biggest way that most people in everyday life should think about hedging, because I know most everybody out there parlays, and there's so many times, we always say if you want to go 4 and 1 for your day, make a 5-team parlay. If I do parlay, I'm straight betting my parlays, so I will profit, hopefully, if I get 2 out of 3. And then the parlay is more of a lottery ticket, but I don't know why I wouldn't lock in cash with a hedge on the 3rd leg or 5th leg or 8th leg of my parlay. Why wouldn't I lock in cash and make sure I don't lose anything? So once it goes out, it's a lot harder to make it come back into your account. Once it's out of there, it's not easy to get it back in again. So that's me. What's your take on it, Chris King?
I agree with you. I mean, especially with you get into some of these ones that are so complicated, especially around conference tournaments, you have no choice but to do straight line betting on the top of it, because otherwise you can hit 5 of them and have the 6th team, completely laying an egg on you, or lose in the last minute like Davidson. And then
I had Richmond plus 130 and I had Davidson plus 150. I don't care who wins. I'm making money.
Right, but I'm saying from a parlay perspective, though, if you had the first 5 and Davidson crashes on you, then you're out of luck if you don't do the straight line betting with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a really good point, Chris, is right now is not the national championship is not the time to get big parlays going, because there's going to be dogs that will upset, 14 or what is it, 11s and 7s, is it?
Yeah, 11 and it's 11 and 6, 7 and 10.
6. Yeah.
And the 5-12 is always a tricky one.
Yes, those 10, 11, 12s will get you if you're a 5, 6, 7. So you got to keep your eyes out for that. AJ's hedged the Bengals this year in the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Why not? And I think for me too, I'm an Italian, right? So I have like that natural nervousness about me, like that anxiety of like, so for me, just to watch the game and enjoy it, it's like saying getting on both sides of Richmond and Davidson. At that point, I don't care who wins the game. Like, I'm back to just enjoying watching the sport of basketball now. Yeah, I'm a huge fan for whoever I win more money with, but I know I'm not going to lose any money in the game, so I'm not pacing back and forth and stressing out over whether or not I cover, because I already did, So for me, just the mental stability of it all like pays for itself. It pays for itself. It's like I pay for therapy. That's what I'm doing.
It's funny, Allie. How about it? We're only a couple weeks away from actual Major League Baseball. I know you and I are baseball fans. It's a great time of the year.
I'm not thrilled with them doing away with the shift. Is that was that immediate, or that's next season?
No, that's and actually they're doing what who knows what they call it's a modified shift. I have no idea what that means.
Okay.
What is a modified shift? So I have no idea. Chris is upset because now the National League will have a designated hitter.
It's stupid.
So there's that.
I never understood why one did and one didn't, and I mean, I think you both should or you both shouldn't. Is kind of how I feel about it.
They didn't have a DH until what, 71 or 72? Why bring it in then?
Well, it was. There's a famous Dick Schaap story. Dick, of course, God rest his soul, a great friend, a mentor of mine. Dick was writing for Sport magazine, and it was 1968, I think, is when the designated hitter came in, but you can check me on it. And he was at the Yankees camp, and Ron Bloomberg, who many will forget, but actually played
with good reason.
73.
Was it 73? Is that what it came in? Okay. So he didn't know what was going on, and he looked at the lineup card and had DH, and Schaap looked at it and he says, "What is DH?" And he goes, "It's designated Hebrew." Being as you, I can say that as it can Schaap and Ken Bloomberg. So that's what it was. But the DH is in every other division except the National League. I mean, Japan has it. Major League Baseball, college baseball, high school baseball.
Still
the National League was the only one that didn't have it. I'm not sorry to see it come to the National League, because so many times when, as a National League fan, I would sit there and go, there's guys on base and the guy who's up the plate is the pitcher. Please God, don't take him out. He's pitching well,
But there's pitchers that can hit. And back in the original part of baseball, pitchers did hit.
Yeah, so, they can't now.
They can't now because nobody lets them.
Okay.
It takes the strategy out of the game putting a DH in there.
Yeah, I think taking the shift out takes strategy out of the game by taking the shift away. Like, I always like the shift. I think that's,
Well,
that's
Tim
part
says
of
get rid of the stupid shift.
it. He's dead to me right now, though, and he knows it.
So how did you bet on a college baseball game? Did he give you information on that game?
Yeah, me and Tim,
You
Tim
were
has
like,
been
he was
crazy
double
about-
dead to you today for some reason.
Yeah, double dead. Oh, because yesterday I wake up, I'm not in a great mood, and he goes, Cal State Fullerton money line, and I'm like, oh, I cashed on them yesterday against Long Beach, and he goes, they played Duke first round, and I'm like, whatever. Okay, where's ECU? Who do they play? Oh, that's right, ECU's not going to dance. Okay, super, totally care about what you have to say about things. No, it's me and Tim go back and forth. We love each other. We love to hate each other. No, we don't even hate each other.
And Tim
But
says,
Tim has been really solid on his college baseball. I've been cashing with him. I'm his good luck charm. Like, if he picks 5, I'll take 3 of those, and those will be the 3 that win. Except yesterday, I only took 1. I had Grand Canyon, and they lost. They blew a lead in the 8th. But yeah, Tim has got, and you can find that on Earl Sports Bet's TikTok. He posts all of his baseball plays on TikTok. So
speaking of Tim, what do you think about Joe Dooley getting canned as the coach for basketball at East Carolina?
not a meanie.
I'm just curious what he thinks about that. And speaking of coaching shifts, we saw Will Wade get fired at LSU. Is that going to upset LSU this week? And Mike White left Florida. He's going to be at Georgia, so he's the next sacrificial lamb in Athens. Jim, what do you make of that?
I think he's a fool, but that's just me. The Gators going hard after the head coach of the University of Arizona.
I don't think Tommy Lloyd's going to leave Tucson to go to Gainesville with that dumpster fire that is the Florida Gators basketball team. Look what he's done in Tucson.
Yeah.
How's $6 million?
Incredible.
I don't care if you give him $50 million. I wouldn't leave to be put in that conference where you're going to be going nowhere fast.
Oh, please. Chris, you and I will have a discussion about that at another time.
Guys, I got to hop out of here.
Hey,
My kiddo had no school today. He needs me. Good luck today, everyone.
Thanks for dropping by
Thanks,
as
Allie.
always, Allie. Be well. And hang in there, kiddo. We'll see you later.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, guys. I'll see you later.
1 o'clock every day.
Yes.
Go watch
1
Allie.
p.m. Eastern, Morningwood. Get your betting lessons in and get into one of our free contests to win real cash. And don't forget, this Saturday, it's the Picks and Parlays meet and greet in Las Vegas at the Paradise Cantina. Come on my show tomorrow. I'll tell you all about it. But don't forget about that, everybody else.
Yes, ma'am. Will do. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You too.
And there she goes. Allie Burns.
One of these days, we're going to have to get Tim out of the comments onto the screen.
Yeah. Tim, you can come in anytime you want to, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot now that we have it set up that way.
Yeah, you can just pop in. You don't even have to ask. I was did
it to Steen and Reichel the other day, but I didn't know what would happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Florida's been in a pretty decent basketball program now for a number of years, and we'll see. We'll see how that. It's got to be. Will they get Will they get the prize from Arizona? Probably not. But there's a lot of people who take that job.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. All right, we got some stuff to do here, my man. Let's go. Not
Tim
much.
said he can jump in now if he wants.
What's that?
Tim said he can jump in now if he wants.
Come on, Tim. Come on in. Jump in.
It's like
Water's
get the teleporter ready. We're gonna
beam you up, Scotty.
We're gonna beam Tim in from the other Greenville.
Right. Come on, Tim. You can come on in. By the way, I didn't realize, Chris, that you lived in the West. So,
we magically moved the entire state of South Carolina from
Good morning.
from the East Coast to the West.
making his debut on our show, Tim Earl. Tim, how are you doing, bud?
Oh, can't complain. We get a big bracket coming up. I've already loaded up some NIT action, so lots of college basketball. I'm excited for it.
Let me ask you, Tim. Do you think Michigan belongs in the NCAA tournament field?
No.
Okay.
But with that being said, I have them winning in the first round.
That's too bad because I like Colorado State.
Hey, it happens. No,
yeah, that's true.
Well,
But-
right now we're 3 for 3 on the Michigan thing.
Yeah, a lot of people arguing that they should be in because, like I said in the opening, that they played 10 tournament teams down the stretch and everything else. But so what?
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't either. But that's the argument people are
They're
giving.
not winning.
Exactly.
I think they got in because their coach didn't hit somebody after the Indiana game, so I think they're good to go.
Yeah, he didn't strike any member of the committee.
Exactly. There you go.
So that's it. So they figured, or maybe they were concerned that he would if they actually didn't put him in. So you never know. The funny thing is, Juwan Howard, of all the players on that Michigan team of the Fab Five, he was the one who surprised me least. I mean, he was the guy who I least would have thought would have been, out there attacking someone. I mean, he's one of the most easy going along, docile guys I've ever met in my life. So I was a little surprised that he went that crazy, but hey, everybody has a day. So Tim, what's going on with you? What's on your mind, my friend?
Well, brackets got released, and that's all that's been on my mind lately. Just bracket. I was also looking at baseball for the upcoming. Right before I hopped on, I saw a little bit of breaking news, but Olsen from the A's is heading to Atlanta, and Freddie Freeman is heading to Oakland.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman to Oakland.
Yeah.
I kept hearing that Freeman was going to end up
ESPN
in
and
Toronto or somewhere else, but
hey, I heard Freddie Freeman had a shot to go to either the Yankees or the Dodgers, so Oakland's a fantastic spot for him in my case.
So
okay. Why are you
is
an
he
A's
going to
fan?
sign as a free agent then?
I'm a Mets fan, so I don't want to see him in New York in the Yankees, and I don't want to see him on the Dodgers. So no, I like him in Oakland. That's a great spot for him.
That's Oakland's an odd shot for him, I would think. I mean, it's a good, that's not a hit. That's not the kind of ballpark that's a Freddie Freeman ballpark.
No, I'm surprised.
That's the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, doesn't really make sense, but hey, I'm all right with it.
And speaking of baseball, Fernando Tatis could miss up to 3 months after he broke his wrist. He's going to have surgery. That could impact the Padres as well.
The Padres are going to be a mediocre team at best this year anyway, so I don't really. It just speeds up the process of them going 81-81 and not making playoffs.
Well, you got some good off-season situations with the Mets, and got a good manager in Buck Showalter.
Yeah, I think he's a good crutch for the next guy. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, he's Buck was slow to the analytics part of it, but once he did embrace it, it went well for him. He also is very good at handling players. Buck is
which is fantastic.
Ego wise, Buck's very good at making certain that he handles players, and he deals well with pitching coaches. Yeah. Which you have to be able to do with regard to when you're managing a bunch of egos. But you got my guy, Max Scherzer. Max is a baseball player. Chris, he's a guy who, on the day he pitches, will walk by you as if you do not exist. During the rest of the time, he'll talk to you, and he's the first guy standing up on the dugout steps by the manager the whole game long. He's in there. He's badgering Chris, you were talking about pitchers, right? Who wanted to hit. Max was always lobbying Davey Martinez to let him pinch hit. He actually pinch ran during a game and stole a base.
Yep.
So Max is a throwback. Max is a Don Drysdale. He is he's a Bob Gibson. He's the kind of guy who you love to have on your team, and even when he's not on your team, you watch him because he's that kind of pitcher. So
yeah, he's 30. He's 37, but almost had a Cy Young year last year, so he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he's very much he's got that Nolan Ryan work ethic.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you watch Max during the course of the season, just when you go to the ballpark, Max is always working. Max is staying in shape. He's running. He's shadow pitches, which is kind of weird to watch, but it's fun. But Max is always out there. He keeps himself in good health, and so we'll see.
Now, will they give Jacob deGrom an extension, Tim? Because he's talking about already about opting out after the season.
If Cohen has his way, DeGrom will be with the team for as long as he wants him to be. If it was the previous owners, I would say he would be gone after this year. But with Steve Cohen, he's not afraid to open up his wallet. So no,
which is definitely a change from the Wilpons.
The coupons, yes.
Yeah.
God, I hate them. No, they were awful. But
it depends on who is Jacob deGrom's agent, because Jacob deGrom on the open market could bust. Could really break. He clearly would set a record for the pitchers.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's the best pitcher in baseball.
So next to Max.
Who is his agent? Is
I have no clue.
A VC Sports Group? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not Boris.
Yeah, they're all Boris
something.
at this point. Yeah. So, Tim, you can promo your show coming up at 5:00. You guys are going to take a look at the South region, and of course, a ton of other stuff, right?
Oh yeah, 5:00 game time decision. We'll have the NBA injury report. Nick has one NHL game. Talk some baseball trade deadline, trade stuff. NFL, a couple of trades. We'll specialize in that part of the bracket, but we're going to go over the entire thing and just look at everything that's going on. Lots and lots of content. NIT work as well, because I already got 9 plays up and loaded for some NIT action, so I'm excited for that as well.
All right, cool. Tim, thanks a lot for dropping by. Come on anytime. You're in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Good luck to you guys. Make some money today.
Tim.
All right, we'll see you, buddy. Be well. Take care.
And Mike asked about Carlos Correa potentially going to the Cubs would make them instant contenders. No, I would agree with you. As much as I like the Cubs, I don't think adding Correa is going to make them a contender. They still have some work to do. The bright side is they've got a bunch of money now because they traded away everybody that made a bunch of money before.
They need pitching, don't they?
Well, they've got Hendricks and they got Marcus Stroman, who they got from the Mets. And they've got Wade Miley, but they could still use some more arms. They could use some outfielders that could hit. I mean, Jason Hayward, has gone. Right. He was there for the World Series, but he hasn't really produced much at the plate. And Correa would be a nice add. They could probably then move Andrelton Simmons to second. But I don't think they're contenders at this point unless they get aggressive and suddenly pick up some guys. If they were to bring back Rizzo and Bryant and stuff like that, it would at least bolster the lineup. But as it stands, one guy is not going to make them a contender again. No. Even in a watered down NL Central where you've seen the Reds basically act like they don't want to spend money again because they already traded Sonny Gray to Minnesota.
Right. Let's take a look at the slate for this evening.
The one exciting NHL game.
Oh man.
At the Canadian Tire Center, it's the Ottawa Senators and the Arizona Coyotes. Both teams out of the playoff picture as it stands with good reason, because when you look at the numbers, they're not very good. Ottawa is 21-32-5. Arizona 18-36-4. It'll be Scott Wedgwood 9-13-3 with a 317 goals against and a 906 save percentage. Apparently, it's going to be Philippe Gustafsson. He's 3-9-1 with a 366 goals against, 896 save percentage. Don't be surprised if they flip it on you again and it's Anton Forsberg, or because you never know how these things are going to pan out from minute to minute as far as goaltendings go. I don't believe, Matt Murray's out with the ever popular undisclosed injury. So if it's not Forsberg, you'll see Gustafsson. Both teams don't score. Even with that big outburst they had last week against Detroit, the Coyotes are 30th in goals for at 2.53. They're 28th in goals against at 3.55. Ottawa 26th in goals for at 2.64. They're 26th in goals against 3.24. Arizona 2-7 in their last 9 games on Monday. They're 1-4 in the last 5 in the third game of a 3-game and 4-night situation. They're 1-6 in their last 7 against when their opponent allowed 5 or more in their last game. Meanwhile, Ottawa 7-3 in their last 10 on Monday, and the Coyotes just 4-9 in their last 13 meetings in Ottawa. When these teams met in the first meeting in Arizona, somehow there were 13 goals scored, which is impressive given how bad these teams are offensively. The Coyotes won 8-5. I look for the Senators to bounce back at home and even things out with a win that will probably end up going over the total too, because neither one of these goaltenders are any good.
So it's a good night to kind of not watch hockey.
Pretty much.
So let's go to the association. There's got some games over there, which might be of interest to some. The Bulls and the Kings.
Yeah, at the Golden One Center or whatever they want to call it. I still miss the Arco Arena myself.
Right.
But the Bulls favored by 3.5 over the Kings. Chicago's 41-26. Overall, they're 16-16 on the road. The Kings are 24-45. Not going to the playoffs again. They are not going to have a winning record, which goes back to what we talked about before, where Kings had a winning record every year that Rick Adelman was the coach in Sacramento. Every other year in Sacramento, they've had a losing record. That trend continues this season. The Bulls, 9th in the league in scoring offense at 112.3. They're first in field goal percentage at 48.3. They're first in three-point shooting at 37.5%. Meanwhile, Sacramento doesn't know what defense is. I believe they're allergic to it. They're 29th in scoring defense at 115.5 points a night. 29th in field goal percentage at 48%. 27th in three-point defense. That doesn't help when you're a middle-of-the-pack offensive team like the Kings are, 15th at 110.2 points per game, 18th field goal percentage, 23 in three-point shooting. Chicago, middle-of-the-road defensively. But when you're facing a team like Sacramento that can't stop anybody, it's like a layup drill on a trip basis down the floor. Chicago's 4-1 in their last 5 after a straight-up win, 7-3 in their last 10 against teams with a losing straight-up record. Sacramento 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 on Monday, and the Bulls have gone 4-1 in the last 5 meetings between these teams. Just going to take a quick look at the old injury report as of a little while ago, just to see if there's anything of substance to talk about. And this shows us that, let's see. I believe Zach LaVine is questionable for the Bulls. Yeah, he's questionable with a sore knee. Everybody else for the Bulls has been out for an eternity. Terrence Davis, of course, out after wrist surgery. Justin Holiday and Alex Len, both questionable for Sacramento. No real major factors there for the Kings. You're still going to see De'Aaron Fox. Domantas Sabonis hopefully will be back tonight, but it still won't help Sacramento. Look for Chicago to get the win on the road to sweep the season series.
So, moving on, the Wizards are taking on the Golden State Warriors, and not a good night for the Wiz.
No, the Wiz have not had a ton of success. They just lost to Portland, which is saying something because when you look at Portland's lineup, and Portland has been awful, but they still hung a ton of points in a win the other day against the Wiz, and that's a problem in that situation. To answer the question there, Euler, last I saw, they said Sabonis is expected to return tonight. He had served that 1-game suspension Wednesday against Denver. Then he missed Saturday's game due to personal reasons. But with him not being on the injury report, they expect that he should be back today. But as always, with the way the NBA has gone, it never hurts to double check closer to tip to see if there's any update where all of a sudden he'll magically be out with a hangnail or something, which has come all too often of late. In this one, Draymond Green is supposed to return for Golden State today. He hasn't played in an eternity. I think he's played 34 games this season. The Warriors coming off an impressive 122-109 win over the Bucks. The Wiz 21st in scoring offense. They're facing the Warriors' 5th-ranked scoring defense at 104.9 points per game. They're 2nd in field goal percentage defense at 43.7%. They're 4th in three-point defense. Golden State 10th in scoring at 111.4, 7th in field goal percentage, 6th in three-point shooting. The Wiz 18th in scoring defense, 17th in field goal percentage defense, 19th in three-point defense. And now we get into the ugly numbers. Washington 3-12 against the spread in their last 15, playing on 1 day of rest. 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 against teams with a winning percentage above 600. Golden State 4-0 in their last 4 overall, and 4-0 in their last 4 after scoring at least 100 points. I know 12 points is a lot, but we just saw Washington lose outright to Portland. Now, let that sink in. Portland. And we're not talking about Portland when they had talent. This line's actually gone down to 11.5, which makes it even better. We're talking about a Portland team that had a starting 5 the other day of, let's see, who did they start? Drew Eubanks, Trendon Watford, CJ Ellaby, Brandon Williams, and Josh Hart. Kudos to giving up 127 points to that.
That's like, I was just going to say, you couldn't have done it with Bob Eubanks. It's pretty weird. By the way, I was just checking. You're right. I was just checking MLB trades, and the Olsen to the Braves is a trade. Freeman has not signed with Oakland yet, according to.
Unless they're expecting that's going to be what comes.
Trade.
Maybe they're expecting that's going to be another domino to fall.
Well, I mean, again, Freddie Freeman is a free agent, so it's not like they're trading him to Oakland. So I have not seen anything on that at this point in time. I will continue to check, but for the moment,
I was going to say I also see the Twins are looking at Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas from the A's to bolster their rotation.
Right.
So we'll see if anything comes out of that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of bolstering your rotation at this point in time. Let me make one more quick look. Let's talk about the West bracket, if we may. And you've been working on it, so you know everything at ins and outs. What are some of the matchups you're looking forward to?
Well, I mean, everybody always loves the 5-12 matchups with the potential for upsets there. And this one, I don't know if New Mexico State can hang in against UConn, just because UConn is very good on the offensive glass. They led the nation in offensive rebounding percentage, but I think that's going to be a good matchup. Everybody overlooks New Mexico State because they play in the WAC, which is a smaller conference for sure, but they play good basketball. They beat Davidson earlier this year. They also beat Washington State. So New Mexico is not going to be pushed over. UConn does have their trio of Cole, Sonogo, and Martin, which is going to be tough, and they're very good on the defensive end of the floor. The other one I'm really looking at is one that Tim touched on in the comments, Arkansas and Vermont. Vermont's a 13 seed, but they're a live 13 seed. They're not one that's going to just roll over and die. We saw how they obliterated teams in the America East. They beat UMBC in the title game over the weekend by the close score of 82-43. They've got 5 seniors in their lineup, Ben Shungu and Ryan Davis and Justin Bazula leading the way there. And Vermont's very efficient offensively. For Arkansas, I mean, I watched them play against Texas A&M, and JT Notte, who's been great all year, did nothing. 2 for 8, finished with 5 points. He's going to have to be a lot better if they plan to get by Vermont. And then, of course, we've got the ever-popular Alabama versus we don't know who they're going to play yet because they get one of the first 4 teams. So it's going to be whoever comes out of Notre Dame and Rutgers.
First, both those teams are playing well toward the end. Specifically, Rutgers had a pretty good run there toward the end of the season.
But neither one of those teams likes to run, and
no,
Alabama does. So
Alabama's physical too.
That's true. We saw that with the game against Vanderbilt where there were 806 free throws.
Right.
And then, we've talked about Big Ten teams that do they really deserve to be here? And that sums up the 7-10 matchup because Michigan State, somehow a 7 seed, they weren't all that great. They've only got one guy averaging in double figures offensively. And they get to face Davidson. Now, Davidson, I wonder if they would have been a seed the line higher had they gotten past the Spartan, or had they gotten past Richmond in the A-10 title game, that's going to be a tough matchup for Michigan State because they've got to deal with a team that's got 4 guys that are averaging in double figures. They've got they're a great 3-point shooting team. They're 10th in the country at 38.5%. Bob McKillop he's not a new coach. He's been around for 32 years. You're not going to, get him rattled, and you're not going to get his team rattled. So it's going to be interesting to see if Michigan State can deal with what Davidson brings to the table. A lot of these smaller schools, getting lower than expected seeds, you have to watch out for them because inevitably somebody's going to get bitten, and it's going to be a rough night for somebody's fan base in a major conference. And you were saying in the pre-show that you think probably half the teams from the Big Ten won't be here by the time weekend 1 is over.
I don't think so. I think that, every year a conference gets exposed. And when you have 9 teams in the tournament, your odds of being exposed are pretty good. So there's that. But do you think Gonzaga comes out of the West as the number 1 seed? They're the overall number 1 seed.
I think that if they do, they're definitely going to be battle tested to get out. If they get through that, you'd have to think that they'd be a favorite all the way through. It's going to be tough though because you're going to have Texas Tech. They played very well under Mark Adams. They didn't lose a step after Chris Beard left. They've got good scoring options with getting Kevin O'Banner from Oral Roberts was a big get in the offseason. He's slotted right in. Kevin McCullough's been good. I think it's going to come down to probably Gonzaga and Texas Tech in the regional final. I think Duke is going to end up losing to Texas Tech in the Sweet 16 just because Duke doesn't really know how to adjust to a team that can play good defense. And if there's one thing Tech can do, it's strangle you.
Tim seems to be a fan of Texas Tech.
Yeah. Well, you can't.
There are a lot of fans.
Oh, Tim's well. Like I said, Tim, I think if Gonzaga gets by, that's who it's going to be in the Elite Eight. So you think I had Duke actually? I thought Davidson would win and Duke would lose to them, but that would be or they would lose to Texas Tech. Either way, I don't see Duke going very far in this tournament. I know that Paolo Banchero and Trevor Keels and everybody's very excited about them, and Mark Williams is a good shot blocker. But let's face it, Duke is. When's the last time they won a tournament? Every year we see them reload with 55 McDonald's All-Americans, and seven of them sit on the bench and do nothing because they don't get off the floor or off the bench because they've got too many players, and they end up falling short in the tournament. I mean, it's a day in, day out thing for them. It's rinse, lather, repeat. And the other thing that I'm looking for, Jim, is I know everybody's high on Boise State, but Boise State finished the year 347th of 358 teams shooting free throws, 64.9%. You can't beat teams like that in March.
Goodbye.
I mean,
yeah,
they're going to have a tough time if they get by Memphis, which is, questionable.
Not an easy trick.
No, I mean then they run into Gonzaga. But if you just look at recent games here against San Diego State when they won the Mountain West title Saturday, they were 12 of 21 at the free throw line. 57%. You shoot 57% against a team that's like Gonzaga, you're going to get blown out of the gym. Now, I don't know what it is that they can't shoot free throws. Leon Rice needed to practice, have his team practice shooting these things, because you just look at some of the numbers all season long. Like look at the last meeting they had with San Diego State, the one in the regular season that ended 58-57 because they kept bricking free throws. In that game, they were 17 of 26. You can't shoot free throws that poorly. It's going to kill you in March. If you have a lead and you go to the line and you keep bricking free throws, teams are going to catch up if they make shots, or if you give up the Olay layup because you're just trying to grind out the clock. It won't work. I like Memphis. I think I don't think Penny Hardaway, let's be honest, Penny Hardaway and Memphis, even if they get past Boise State, they're not going to get past Gonzaga. But I think they can take down Boise State. I think, Memphis, Hardaway finally has that team pointed in the right direction. Everybody was high on them last year with Musa Sisse, and then he transferred. But, this year's team has been good. I know they're 21-10. I know they lost yesterday in the AAC title game, but you think about it, they beat Houston twice in the regular season. They beat SMU in the semifinals after losing to them twice. They're not they beat Alabama by 14 points at home. You're not talking about, a doormat Memphis team here. They beat Virginia Tech on a neutral floor.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a team you can sleep on.
We've been talking a lot about the pro team in town, but the college team ain't bad either.
That's true.
So, all right. Well, tell you what, we got some fun things going on for 2 for the money. So let's go out and hit that 2 for the money. All
right. And they're, with such a light docket, it makes it very difficult to try and come up with stuff. But I'm going to go with the Bulls over the Kings. I'm also going with the Hornets over the Thunder, Oklahoma City, with the unfortunate pleasure of playing yesterday. So they're playing the second game of a back-to-back here. They have not had much luck in those situations this season. In fact, I can tell you that they, let's see, because I actually wrote this one yesterday. Oklahoma City in the second game of back-to-backs this year is a miserable 2-9. They've been outscored by an average of 14.8 points a game in those situations. They don't have Lou Dort. He's done for the year. Josh Giddey could be done for the year. They don't have Mike Muscala. They don't have Ty Jerome. They don't have Jeremiah Robinson Earl. So it's basically Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and anybody they can find that's willing to put on a jersey, because they're a very short-handed team. Charlotte should be able to take care of business. Tim, I'm only fading the Nuggets because they're on the road. If they were at home, I would back the Nuggets. I think Jokic is going to outplay Embiid, but I just think that with so many question marks on the rest of Denver's rotation, I'm not sure that they can keep up with Harden and Harris and Maxey and the rest of those guys. Jokic can't go 50, 20, 15 by himself. I mean, well, he probably could, but I guess Aaron Gordon is questionable again for Denver. I think there's a whole bunch of other guys that were questionable too. Zeke Naji, I saw, was on the list.
Well, Philadelphia can't afford to start losing. I mean, if they're
Philadelphia was dismal yesterday. They slipped by Orlando in overtime. Philadelphia's got to figure out that transition defense.
Right.
And then, of course, we've got the Lakers, because everybody likes to fade the Lakers. I don't know if anybody stayed up to watch the game last night against the Suns, but they were down 20-something in the first quarter. And
by accident, I did.
You did?
I didn't watch the whole
My
game.
apologies.
Yeah, it was. I just hit there and went, well, it's the Lakers. And it's like, oops. Quick, go to the Food Network. Yes.
Yeah, I think. Was there a Chopped marathon on the Food Network?
Yeah, there was something good on, so I was able to get out of there real quick and see a repeat of Beat Bobby Flay or something. I forget what it was.
But yeah, I mean, they gave up 140 points yesterday to the Suns. It was 48-22 after the first quarter, and you could turn the lights.
And it got
at
worse.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just not a whole lot to like about the Lakers. I mean, you look at their lineup, and I mean, Westbrook shot the ball 10 times yesterday, which is impressive that he only shot it 10 times in 28 and a half minutes, considering Carmelo Anthony shot it 11 times in 18 minutes.
Right.
But I think that Toronto can take advantage of the Lakers playing the second game of back-to-back and get the win there.
Put them to bed. All right, let's go to 4 for the money. 4 for the show. We got 2 for the money.
Yep, Tim said fading the Fakers is a full-time job. He clocked in.
You would. It's the thing to do.
Yeah, we talked about the Senators and the Coyotes and the Warriors and the Wiz. I don't think we need to beat that into the ground any further.
No, I think that's enough.
Minnesota -4 over San Antonio. Minnesota, I can't figure out. They lost to Orlando Friday and then turned around and beat Miami on Saturday. Meanwhile, San Antonio.
Schizophrenic. Yeah.
San Antonio, kudos to Greg Popovich for setting the all-time record for regular season wins by a head coach Friday night when they beat the Jazz. Then they turned around and got pasted by Indiana. So they're just as bad. But I like Minnesota. They've just got more depth than the Spurs do. And they've got something to play for while the Spurs are still outside the playoff or even the play-in tournament at this point. I just can't trust Popovich's team. They had a bunch of guys missing against Indiana, and I'm just checking to see if they've cleared up their injury report or not. Yeah, it looks like you're going to see at least DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson, who you didn't see the other day. Doug McDermott still expected to be out for the Spurs. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards will play, or is expected to play for Minnesota. Naz Reid is questionable, as is Patrick Beverly with an ear issue. Either way, I still like Minnesota there. And Cleveland at home. The Clippers struggled to beat Detroit yesterday on the road. They won by 4. Cleveland, I know they're dealing with injury bug of their own, but I still think the Cavaliers have enough weapons in the tank. Playing at home, Karis LeVert, Lauri Markkanen questionable tonight, so they could be back. Meanwhile, you're looking at the Clippers rotation. Robert Covington is out. Paul George is out. Reggie Jackson is going to be rested. Marcus Morris is going to be rested. Norman Powell still out with that broken bone in his foot. And, of course, Kawhi Leonard still recovering from the ACL. You have to think that the Cavs playing at home against a Clippers team that has basically said, we're not playing anyone tonight, should get the win. That's true.
Harden is a sellout.
Yeah, Harden is a sellout. I mean, he wanted to force his way out of Brooklyn, just like he wanted to force his way out of Oklahoma City, and like he wanted to force his way out of Houston.
Be careful what you wish for.
Right. So you have to think, while he's a sellout, he's still a talented player. The question is, can he stay motivated, and can he contribute in the playoffs? That's what Philadelphia is banking on. I agree with you, though. I'm not a fan of him either. But you can't take away what he does on the floor when he's playing.
Absolutely.
Yep. And like Unknown just said, yeah, like we said, Reggie Jackson's going to be rested. So is Marcus Morris. And Covington's out for personal reasons. So the Clips very short-handed. I guess Luke Kennard will get a bunch of looks tonight, and so will Ivica Zubac.
Yep. No doubt.
Unless they magically sit out too, but who knows?
Anything's possible. How about we let's go to the menu? What do you say?
And the menu,
you got some interesting stuff on the menu today.
That's full of player props because there wasn't anything else to talk about. Take note, I very rarely deal with props because I leave that to Reichel. But like I said, with such a light schedule, we had to improvise. And I'm going to look for Josh Hart to score over 17.5. He scored 44 the other day against the Wiz. Portland's going to need somebody to score tonight. Might as well be him, right?
Yep.
I look in the same token. I look for Trae Young to go over 28.5 against Portland. You have to think that the Hawks will be able to run up some points on the Trailblazers after all the Wiz put 118 on them.
Mm-hmm.
I look for LaMelo Ball to go over 20.5 points for the Hornets tonight against the Thunder. Hopefully, he doesn't just try to pass the ball off repeatedly. Steph Curry, I look to go over a combined 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So that means he can just score 32 and hand out 2 assists, and we'll be good.
Right. And get a board.
Yeah, there you go. I look by the same token. I look for Vucevic to stay under 35.5. In his career, he's averaged 16.3 points, I think 9.2 rebounds, and a couple of assists against Sacramento in his career. So I'm hoping that one stays down. By the same token, De'Aaron Fox, over 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The Bulls have given up the most points to point guards over the last 30 games, or the last 30 days, as far as per game average. So Sacramento's got to get points from somewhere. Might as well be him. There you go, Tim. I'm going with Jokic going over 46.5 on the points, rebounds, and assists. I know that you're probably betting on the Jokic triple double, because I know that's a common thing for you. I don't know what the line is for that. I didn't get a chance to look, but I imagine it's probably favorable. And let's face it, he's a one-man wrecking crew. I've seen his MVP odds have improved dramatically as time's gone on. I look for Harden to go over 38.5 because if Embiid gets shut down or neutralized, you have to think that he'll pick up the slack. And for the exciting hockey game on the slate, I look for Josh Norris of the Senators to take over 2.5 shots. He's a good second line guy for them. He can contribute offensively, and somebody's got to shoot the damn puck. And I look for, after seeing the 13-goal bonanza we saw in the first meeting, I look for that one to go over 6. I don't have faith in the goaltending, and as we saw with no goaltending in the first matchup, we saw 13. This one should end up over.
All right, some business real quick, and that is, that my buddy here, Chris King, can send you the best parlay tickets every day. But what you have to do with this is you have to go into our show box and sign up, okay? So what you do is you get Chris's best parlay picks every day sent to your email box by the company, not by Chris. So don't email him, don't text him, and don't go through Twitter. Go to the email box below, go to the show box below, and click on it, and you'll get all that information. Also, while you're down there, a couple of other things. We have some great promotions going on from our friends at BetMGM. All that information is in the show box below. And one last time, let's talk about our bracket challenge, okay? So now here's the bracket challenge that we have. As you can see, we call it our 2022 Hoop Madness Special. You're going to get for free a betting guide that's put together by the handicapping teams at Whiners and Whiners, okay? Sign up for that. That's a free thing all the way down the line. And then free, there's a $2,000 bracket contest. So look, you're already going to put together some brackets for your office pool, but I bet they're not paying anywhere close to $2,000 in cash. The top 5 scoring entries in our bracket challenge pay cash. The first place gets a cool $1,000. All you have to do is enter for free right there. Again, presented by Winners and Whiners, Picks and Parlays, and the Max Wagers Network. Okay.
Hey, do we get to enter that tournament?
If you want, Chris, you can enter that tournament. So,
I didn't know if we were allowed to since we work.
Probably not a good idea, but enter under pseudonym. Anyway, you can do that. Also,
Cosmo Kramer.
There you go. Don't forget, we can watch our entire Max Wagers team. Midday started with Sean Higgs. Morning Wood with Allie Burns. She popped by today. Always a pleasure to have her. Just Parlays with our buddy Chris King right here. Coming up next at 3 o'clock, it's back to the window with Scott and Scott, and then game time decisions with Nick, Tim, and Lenny at 5. That's 6 hours of outstanding fun programming for you.
Tim said he entered.
Well, see, there you go. Tim entered as well. So if Tim entered, I guess we can all enter. So all that coming right up here on the Max Wagers Network. Okay. So any final words there, Chris? Any final questions from the class?
I didn't see any questions, but going back to the Matt Olson trade, it looks like the A's are going to get Christian Pash, Shea Langoliers, Ryan Cusick, and Joey Estes. So that's 4 of the Braves' top 14 prospects, including their top 2. It's a big price to give up for Olson.
Yeah.
But I mean, and like Tim said, that would appear to close the door on the Freddie Freeman era. The last report said Freeman wanted 6 years and $180 million. The Braves were more around 5 and 130. So
yeah, I don't think.
Wonder.
I think that Freddie Freeman is a Southern California guy. He lives in Southern California. He played high school ball in Southern California. This is a chance for him to cash in. The Dodgers seem to be willing to spend the money on him. So unless something otherwise happens, I saw people saying, well, he could go to the Yankees. He could. There's certainly that's a possibility. But I would think that Andrew Freeman and the gang out there will figure out some creative way to get Freddie Freeman at least make an offer that, can you refuse it? You can refuse anything. But I think that they remain the leaders to me in the clubhouse for Freddie Freeman. Outside chance, perhaps the Angels. You never know. But I think he's going to stay in the National League, and we'll see how that works out. But anyway, that's where it is. He has not been traded yet. So I'm not sorry. He has not signed free agency contract yet. So there's that. Anything else, Chris? Anything that any final thoughts before we get out of here on a Monday?
Not terribly. I mean, there's a lot of big news in the NFL free agency stuff going on. So there's always that. But
yep.
When is that not going on, right?
It's going on all the time. I saw Cleveland considering this possibility of shopping Baker Mayfield. So.
They cut Jarvis Landry earlier after getting Amari Cooper. So
right.
You have to wonder.
Never know what's going on with that with the NFL. You're absolutely right in that regard. So, all right, we will be back tomorrow, and we hope that you guys join us at 2:00. As we said before, you got 6 hours of fun stuff right here on the Max Wagers Network coming up. Scott and Scott at 3:00, and then the gang, Tim, Nick, and Lenny at 5. They close out the day. All right, folks. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Lewis from my buddy Chris King. We'll see you right here on Just Parlays on the Max Wagers Sports Betting Network.